Here comes the countdown.
Hello and welcome to Olde World Tech Fridays. How is everyone this evening?
Fantastic. Anybody
I'm doing great.
Sweet.
Apparently
It's
there are
March
elephants upstairs.
15th where Francois is. He
Yes,
is
it's
a
true.
teacher.
He is already celebrating the great weekend of St. Patrick's.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
It is true.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to all. And apparently it's also Pie Day. So we should also be thankful for the almighty pie.
It's true.
It's
Yes.
crazy to think about, but we're already halfway through March.
Yes.
I know.
First part of the year is flying.
I will tell you what, though. I looked at my checking account. I'm so glad that we're halfway through March.
You know who's not happy we're halfway through March?
My creditors.
Well, besides your creditors. Caesar. He was not impressed with the halfway mark.
Beware the
yeah.
ID March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually call it Sheila's brush here in Newfoundland, and we traditionally have a
Sheila's
snow.
brush?
Yeah, Sheila. Yeah,
Okay.
We traditionally have a snowstorm on the 15th, and we kind of had some snow yesterday. So
Mhm.
everybody's
It's,
saying that's
It
it.
was 68 here today.
What's that in non-freedom units?
Let's see.
It's one thing I can't calculate in my head properly.
20.
20. Okay, so it's pretty
Yep.
pretty warm
It was pretty warm today. Sun
For
was
a-
out.
for
It
a
was
March
warm.
day.
Yeah. And then they said there's like a snowstorm coming at some point in the next week or so, making
Okay.
its way across the U.S., I guess. So I don't know. Who knows?
It's doing a tour, pretty standard tour.
Yep,
across the area.
exactly. It's touring.
We're supposed to get the cyclone bomb or the whatever it's called tonight, like all the huge wind stuff. So
Wow.
yeah,
A politician is speaking.
I don't know. Maybe sounds right.
It sounds about right.
Yeah.
There was a large hot wind blew through town.
Mhm. It could be Christopher Guest coming to downtown. I would love to watch a mighty wind.
There you go.
I watched The Mighty Ducks the other day.
Ooh,
First
Good movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I was scrolling through, couldn't find anything to watch, and all of a sudden it popped up, and I'm like, yes, I haven't seen that in quite a while.
I don't think I've seen it at all, but I've seen the trailer enough times to think I get the general plot. So did he get like a DUI or a DWI, and then he
Yes.
got
Yeah,
then he had
then
to
he-
Yes.
yeah.
They
That
forced him to do community
The
service.
90s was a weird time for
it was
driving while
such a
drunk.
weird time to deal with like reckless endangerment of other people.
Yeah, you put him in charge of a group of little kids.
Kids, yeah.
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 I mean, it's
Well,
like
what
camp,
could go wrong?
Camp Nowhere. They just got
my God, that
the
was a
local
hoot.
bum to be the camp counselor,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I think I remember that too.
Yeah.
Or heavyweights, where they
Heavyweights?
got whatchamacallit to be in charge. The crazy Ben Stiller.
Yeah, Ben
Had
Stiller.
the
yeah.
crazy hair and stuff.
Mhm.
No, he was the bad. He was the actual fat camp.
Oh,
He was the actual fat camp kid because he was a fat kid allegedly.
Yes.
Mhm.
It was, and yeah, he was like the bad camp counselor.
Yeah, he was, because he was forcing everyone to be skinny, and the kids would have people hide food in the tree stumps and stuff.
And in the
Yep.
bedpost of the bed, Ben Stiller would come in and just like
Yeah.
knock on the bedpost, and it was just like the
Uh-huh.
Gestapo trying to find the hidden, like,
They put him in that electrified cage
yeah.
toward the end.
Man, the 90s was a
funny.
weird
They
time
had a
for
lot of
kids
good
movies.
back then.
Such a
Yeah.
weird time. I mean, but it's a direct sort of pushback on movies like when I was a kid, because
Mhm.
like I grew up in the era where it was like you could just make scary kids movies,
Right.
and everybody was okay with that.
We had Are You Afraid of the Dark?
And we
watched-
had Ernest Scared Stupid. That troll
my
to
God,
this
yes.
day scares the crap out of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the worst one. I didn't like that one. That was
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
They had
Well,
those
yeah.
little dolls of the kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what what era, like what movie would have been, I'm trying to think of like scary kids movies from the 80s. Like
Cool
what?
Runnings.
Cool. My helmet doesn't fit,
Jamaica's got a
coach.
bobsled.
I would say like a scary kids movie for me would be like The Secret of Nem.
Leprechaun.
Okay, yeah.
Like there's a lot of like, I don't know, that's like actual horror, like R-rated movies that not for kids.
Right.
But I
Same
mean,
guy from Willow.
I feel
yeah,
like,
I guess.
but I feel like it was just like parents didn't know the ratings, so they're just like, "Oh, you're going to see the new
Ghostbusters.
Friday
Well,
the 13th
Yeah,
movie."
I
Ghostbusters.
think it's because there was less of a like stigma about showing your kids R-rated things, because it was just like you just reach over and cover their eyes up.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Sure.
I mean, and it was also the time where like there's a lot of quote of like PG movies that have the F-bomb or have brief nudity and stuff in them, just because there wasn't this robust rating system that we had. There was no PG-13 or NC-17 or any of the other things. So it was, you just shove stuff into theaters and
Parental guidance required or suggested.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah. Like Lethal Weapon, that's only PG.
Yeah.
Right.
So your dad would bring RoboCop home or something.
Well, what I find funny about those movies though is like they were clearly not kids movies, but then they were like, we can merchandise toys to kids for this movie.
Yeah.
Like RoboCop was not a kids movie, but there were lots of RoboCop toys.
Yeah, well, I just think even if you didn't see the movie, you saw the trailer and you like the idea robot man who's a cop.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
You know.
Garth's parents took him to see Cujo and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did not see Cujo in the theater, but I saw it as a kid and it was like really scary.
I remember watching Dolly Dearest as a child. That was that was like one of the first horror movies I remember watching.
See,
which was like the female Chucky.
I have an unhealthy phobia of clowns. I hate clowns. And it all stems from when I was a kid.
Killer Clowns.
I remember I remember seeing it.
Oh,
I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to see it. Snuck out, hid behind the couch, peeking around, scared the shit out of me. Couldn't.
Now what Frank actually doesn't realize is he didn't actually see it. He saw Rocky Horror Picture Show. Tim Curry confused.
I saw a filming of Kiss with Gene Simmons, and it just scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Us Jews don't wear face paint and stuff like that.
Well, not anymore, not since they sold the brand. But I was going to say that probably a really good example of a scary kids movie from the 80s, Return to Oz.
Oh,
that is
terrifying. It's freaky. The wheels and everything were freaky.
Yes, the whole true. Like the mental hospital
and oh my god, that's a good one.
The
that's
whole I think that is a really great example of
I didn't even think about that.
Frightening
in the
movie.
Heads, the lady just
the lady with the heads. Yeah, Mombi.
Stole from everybody else.
Here's the deal. I love that movie though. I think about that movie all the time. As a matter of fact, today it just occurred to me, TikTok. Listen, if we can talk as friends, there's this thing called Powder of Life. You should just use that, and then you probably would not have to crank the little things all the time. You would just be alive. Also, follow-up question: why is the can, the Powder of Life in, not alive? It's touching the can.
It is. They shake it right out of the can onto the gum.
So
and then they say
at the factory, they spray the inside with living death.
Oh, is that it?
So the living death is on the inside, and that separates the.
But I have the perfect example. So one of our customers, this was a few years ago at the old place. One of our customers was a can manufacturer. They made soda cans, and they showed us they spray a special coating on the inside of the Mountain Dew cans because it would literally eat the metal.
Through the can. Yep.
Yes. So that's yucky.
You can use I think it's nitric acid. You can melt the outside of a can, and it just leaves the shellac on the inside of the can. You can put the whole can of Coke down into it, and then when you lift it out, all the can is gone, all the aluminum is gone, except for the shellac on the inside. It's quite trippy. They do it in one of the science classes.
Interesting.
And Joe made a really good point earlier.
Side man,
is the movie Neverending Story, specifically the horse in the swamp.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is like trauma inducing for a child.
The Indian in the Cupboard was an odd film for me.
There's a lot to unpack there, Frank. There's a lot to unpack. That was 90s, 92 maybe.
I couldn't remember when that came out. That was an odd one.
It is not. Well, we used to. So we had to read the book in like elementary school,
Mhm.
and around the same time, Scholastic was pushing the book, and then the movie came
Trek.
out, and I remember it was like a huge thing because we got to read the book and then we got to see the movie. Oh yeah, the horse's name is it Artrax or
Yeah.
I don't
Anthrax?
remember. I know that Atreyu.
Yeah,
Atreyu
Atreyu.
was, yeah.
Yes. Joe had a mild crush on Atreyu as a younger individual.
Listen, if you want to talk about scary movies, it depends. It's um, David Bowie's Package in Labyrinth. It either awakened something in you or made you
Terrified
very
you.
frightened about it awakening something in you.
Yeah, it's like the what was that movie with Dan Aykroyd and the penis nose?
Oh, it's Nothing But Trouble. I
That's
love
it,
that
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, that's a terrifying movie. That scene specifically where they're eating hot dogs.
Yeah.
What was the
Yeah.
girl's name in Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Dottie?
The one he would argue with. That's it.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
man, it's on the back of my brain, but I
Mhm.
can't think of what it was.
Yeah. Mhm.
Garth says,
But-
I also saw the TV version of Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D on TV. I was up all
Ooh.
night with the house lights on.
Yeah. And also like there was a lot of just television that you could just watch like on Friday night that was kind of scary.
Yeah.
Like Fantasy Island would occasionally have like spooky kind of episodes and things like that. So
But even like the Crypt Keeper was kind of scary. Like there was some stories there that were terrifying.
but
Did you see Howard the Duck?
That was terrifying.
Oh, that was a
Yeah.
scary mask and costume that
Yeah.
had. Oh my gosh. That's why I wouldn't go to Chuck E. Cheese. Freaked me out.
fair enough.
Joe says anything 1970s
1970s
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just as a kid, I grew up at a time when Twilight Zone was in syndication.
Sure.
And so my dad worked second shift. He would come home, and it was like when I was really little, like I'm talking like kindergarten, first grade. He'd come and get me. We'd watch because the earlier seasons are all 30 minutes. And so it's like we'd watch one of those episodes and he'd send me back to bed. And so after a while, you kind of got desensitized a tiny bit.
Mhm.
But then like the mid 80s happened, and there were two series that were sort of like not really companion shows, but they came out at the exact same time. One of which was called Monsters, which was a Canadian show.
Yep.
That was syndicated in the US that was just kind of a low budget like anthology series of just crazy stuff. And then there was another one called Tales from the Dark Side that was produced by George Romero of Night of the Living Dead fame. And I will tell you what, I like the intro. Just don't do it now, but at some point in the future, go to YouTube and watch the intro for Tales from the Dark Side. The music at the beginning like just scared the crap out of me as a kid every time. Like I would watch the show, but it was on at like 11:30 midnight or something. I had to turn the volume down. Let's see, this is in the old days. I had to turn the volume down for the intro because it's the visuals are nothing. It's just the music. And then when the episode would start after it's done, I'd turn the volume back up. So anyway,
we used to have it was usually like Friday or Saturday nights late. You could watch horror movies on different channels. Space Sci-Fi Channel was always showing something. And I think I remember staying up really late to watch Plan 9 from Outer Space. At the time, I had no idea. I was like, oh my God, everybody talks about this. I remember watching it going, this is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
But I realized later that was the best part. And then like they would show like Army of Darkness and Evil Dead, and that was sort of my first I love Bruce Campbell, and it was my sort of first real introduction to Bruce Campbell, and I've been a fan ever since. But they're like my go-to horror movie when I want to watch something fun. Army of Darkness. I
just wish that the Universal Pictures, because I think it's a Dino De Laurentiis or somebody actually was the production on it, and then he had a 30 picture deal with Universal to like distribute that they would have called it or I can't remember, but it was like because it's Evil Dead and it's so. But what era does it take place in?
Medieval Dead.
Yes.
I like that.
That Yeah,
But I feel like that probably already existed, or there was a copyright on it.
I think it really came down to that Universal didn't understand the movie,
Right.
and so they were just like, we're just gonna get this in and out of theaters. But I remember I was in like a Star Trek fan group kind of thing as like a teenager,
Yeah.
and I convinced all these like 20 and 30 something adults that I was just like very fortunate to be able to get and hang out with, to go see that, and they were like, this was terrible, this movie was terrible, and I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the best thing. The best thing is the fact that the budget was as low as it was for being as high as it was. Like the mats when he falls out of the time warp, and you can clearly see the mats under the dirt.
Yeah,
It's like,
but you're not supposed to be watching that. You're supposed to be
I
watching
know,
the car.
for a fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many Delta 88s did they go through?
Have you guys seen that movie, The Menu?
Not yet. I hear it's quite good.
It was good. It was very good. I was actually surprised.
Who's
the
in
menu
that?
is people. Ooh, I'm sorry.
The guy, what the heck is his name? Hang on.
What's her name is in it? The one from the
The redhead.
Queen's Gambit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that movie.
Ralph.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And Ralph
Lemons?
Fiennes.
Ralph
Fiennes.
Fiennes. Yeah.
Fiennes.
Mhm.
Anna
Lord
Taylor-Joy.
Voldemort. Yeah.
Yes. I
Oh my
saw
gosh,
that. I
it was
liked that a
good.
lot. It's got John
was good.
Leguizamo in it too.
Yeah.
It does.
It's got a lot of people from a lot of shows and movies in it.
Mhm.
But I thought it was actually pretty well done. Like I feel like they really did a good job with that. It was one that kept you on your seat.
Mhm.
Can we talk about one of the best movies though that I always go back to, and it's early
What's that?
90s, and Rudy reminded me of it when he said Taco Bell is still scary. Demolition Man,
Oh my god, that's so funny. I love that movie.
right? Like,
It's like
Yeah.
he doesn't know about the 3 seashells.
Mhm.
and Taco Bell wins the restaurant wars.
I know. Well, with Sandy B too, like, what's this? He puts
Yeah.
on the headset to have sex.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
oh, physical
ew,
sex.
physical touch?
No, never.
Gross. That was a really funny
And
one.
what I love the fact that the museum that they go to, the like Museum of Violence or whatever it's called, or the Wing of Violence, the Wing of Weapons, it's the same font they use for Diablo, the video
Yes.
game.
Yes.
Because I remember watching it as a kid, going, "Why is that Diablo font on the wall?" Not realizing that the movie came out before and that it's a well-defined font that it
And
existed
it
before the game.
had the guy from Beetlejuice, Odo.
Oh yeah, Odo was
What's
in
his
it.
name
Yeah,
in Beetlejuice?
Otho.
Otho. Yeah,
Otho.
yeah.
Yes, from Beetlejuice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Who
yeah, that was a funny one.
He was a stand-up comedian, right? He did a lot
Glenn Shaddix just did whatever.
Everything,
He
yeah.
did a lot of theater
okay,
kind of stuff. He was kind of a theatrical actor, but then
A
was
thespian.
just part of the scene
Yes,
for
thespian.
different things, and that's how he knew Tim Burton and other people. But yeah, he actually
Is he still alive? Or
no,
is
he passed away
No,
like
he passed
probably
away.
10 years ago or something
Okay.
by now.
I
But
don't think it's been that long.
I will tell you, I was like when Facebook kind of started like really getting like going, he had a Facebook account and he would just friend people up,
Oh,
and
I
he would
guess
just
it has
like,
been.
hey everybody, just wanted to let everybody know like things are going great today, felt really good. And yeah, so it's like you could get your daily Glenn Shaddix update.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
September 7th, 2010. So yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
15
About
years.
15 years. Yeah.
but
Wow.
just
That's crazy.
seemingly a nice guy.
He did seem to get a bit typecast though, at least in his at least I remember the movie roles he was in. I mean, he was similar character in Beetlejuice to what he was in Demolition
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, it's no different than Ryan Reynolds. Like everything Ryan Reynolds plays is Van Wilder.
Yeah.
Same voice, same speech.
That's because Van
mannerisms,
Wilder
everything.
is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, literally. Like once he did Van Wilder, like every character he played after that was the exact same.
100%.
Yeah.
No matter what the movie.
Serving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that the one where his girlfriend's head is in
Hey,
the
Javier.
fridge? What's the one where his girlfriend's head is in the
I have
fridge and
no
he's a serial
idea.
killer?
But it's the
I don't think I saw
one
that.
It came out like 2010 or 20.
serving is where they all work at like an Applebee's.
Right,
It's,
right.
It's like
Yes.
it's office
Waiting,
space for
Waiting. It
waiting.
was called Waiting.
Sorry,
Yes.
my mistake. Yeah.
Yes. The girl recently came out and said that something happened whenever she was filming of that movie.
It's called The Voices. Came out in 2014.
I didn't see that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it's funny. It's sort of like a dark comedy. He kills his girlfriend, but puts her head in the fridge, and it still talks and tells
That's
him
weird.
it's weird.
I've never seen that one. I never even heard of it.
Cool. We haven't actually said who we had in the chat. Let's
Oh,
let's
that's
have
right,
a look
yeah.
through there. Sorry
Quite a
about that,
few people.
guys. Usually like to say. First off the bat, we have CDI. CDI is always here
Hello.
early. Sloopy. Sloopy's here. Trina of Trina's
Trina.
Technobabble. Francois is here. Rudy from Rudy's Retro Intel.
Hello.
Happy early birthday, Rudy. Rudy will be streaming a birthday stream tomorrow. Joe from Joe's Computer Museum is here.
Ooh.
We have Jean-Francois Paré is here. The Tech Knight. Who else we got? I803386SX.
Yep.
Ugh. Never get used to saying that name.
Careful. It's like that time that they tricked you into saying your name backwards and you got sent back to your original dimension, Ryan.
Right. It's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times and I disappear.
Poltergeist, that was another good one.
Poltergeist, yeah. I was afraid of static on TVs for a very long time.
Oh my god. That lady just cracks me up. This house is clean.
Gareth is here. 1-Bit Fever Dreams. Did I miss anybody? Nobody else. Jack 68K. Javier's here. And I think that is it. Cool. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for
Skeletons probably were real, Garth.
The skeletons were real.
I believe it.
That's the whole joke, or that the set was haunted because they used real medical skeletons.
Yeah. Who's old enough to actually remember that when TV finished for the day?
Sure, that was in my time.
Went to the color bars and the beep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our local,
or just static. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our local
PBS did that.
They had it, and they had the inappropriate Indian head.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
On the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
That was our high school mascot. Was the Indian head? We were the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they still are.
Probably not. Cool. So we're into week 3 of Marchintosh.
It's
week
true.
3? Or week 2? No, week 2. Sorry, week 2.
We're going into
week 3. Yes. I know that we've all had some good projects that we've started and some that we've finished. Anybody want to do a quick recap on what they've been up to?
Yeah. I've been dumping memes on people's machines on their printers this year.
It's pronounced memes.
Like this one.
Ain't easy. I love it.
Yeah.
That looks great.
These are just a couple that I printed.
That's so funny.
Macintosh, sure, but why not?
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
No.
Marchintosh, sure, but why not April Lisa?
That's funny.
That's funny.
But that's it. I've just been dumping memes and trying to get my machine up and running. Actually, something kind of cool that I need to do a video about it is I actually got a Snap server.
Oh, right, yeah.
So,
that's right.
So now I don't do any of the file hosting off of a Mac. It's all on a NAS on my network.
Awesome.
For all those
now, for anybody
all those nasty boys out there.
So for anybody who doesn't know what a Snap server is, do you want to let us know?
It's like kind of in the early 2000s. There was a company called Meridian, and they made like network appliances. That's what they called them, network appliances. Yeah. So it's a box that runs like a little Linux, derivative. And it's got an x86 chip inside of it, and it just an IDE controller, and basically it just shares your stuff out. So the nice thing about it though is it supported a whole bunch of different things. It supported like Samba, it supported like Unix file sharing, it supported Macintosh, it supported Novell networking, it supported like
awesome.
Plus you could run a web server on it if you wanted to get instantly hacked. It was you could do a lot of fun things with it for something that was much cheaper than buying a server.
Right.
And they had a ton of different models. They had some that just had a single hard drive. They had some that had like 2 hard drives. Tom Barber has like a 2000, like a Snap Server 2000, which was it supported like I think 4 drives or something. So you could have like a RAID 5. Yeah. So they're really neat. You can pick them up cheap. Facebook Marketplace, eBay, stuff like that. Don't overpay. They're not
Yeah,
They're
I
not
believe you said
items
there's
or
one
anything.
on eBay right now for 1,000 or 2,000 for like $30.
Yeah, like, and that's just that's the base of the base models.
Yeah.
That has like a single hard drive in it. But yeah, I mean, here's the deal: you throw a IDE to SATA adapter, and you throw a 1 terabyte SSD in it. You got tons of space for
Oh
these old
yeah.
machines.
Tons reliable, and
Yeah.
you're gonna flood that 133 speed IDE bus as much as it can suffer.
But the funny thing is they're x86 based. So the I don't know what processor is in the 1000, but the 2000, like I have, just has like it's a 486. It's equivalent. It's like a AMD K5 133 or something.
Yeah.
Or is that it? Or DX5 133.
DX5,
That's it. So
486, right?
Yeah, so it's a 486, but like equivalent to like a Pentium 75 in terms of performance. But the higher end ones have like a 200 megahertz MMX Pentium.
Right.
I'm not sure what MMX instructions are used for the NAS, but they must have known what they were doing. And it just has like a RAM sticks in it, and you can like, oh, it's a 16-bit module. Pull that out, put a 128 in there. It's Unix, it's Linux. It'll just see it and just utilize it to make things faster. So
That's awesome.
Eminently upgradable, lots of fun to play around with.
Well, we were talking about this, I think, last night or the night before. It's almost like they were just a little bit too early to the party, because that sold maybe around 2005. They probably would have been a fairly big contender for like the home server market, which kind of grew out of the mid 2000s. Family photos. Cloud storage wasn't really a thing. Internet speeds weren't fast enough, but you wanted something that was reliable that everybody could connect to. You had multi-computer houses at that point. So, it seems kind of cool that was available in the, late 90s.
Yeah.
Right. And like you said, I remember trying to set up SMB shares in 1999 on my Slackware server, and it was a nightmare. So if I had something like that, it would have been way easier. But then again, I don't know how much they were new back in 1999. I'm sure they weren't cheap. I'm sure they were thousands of dollars.
It just depends on the model. But again, it was a fraction of the cost to buy in an actual server. A real server.
Yeah, for sure.
So
cool.
And the guy I bought it from, he was a guy that was like, I had one of these at home for all my home stuff.
Cool. Because do you remember in around 2010 when they started getting like the Western Digital Sentinel and the HP home serve, and it was running that like sort of chopped down, bastardized version of Windows 7 that sort of had some server 2008 stuff in it. I think it was called Essentials. Yeah, well, it was sort of Microsoft's attempt at a home server. I dabbled in them a fair bit. We sold them a lot to small businesses. Actually, used them. I think more than home users used them. It was a wild time. I still have 2 Western Digital Sentinels in my attic. I kept them just because I'm like, these are kind of cool. I'm sure in the future somebody's going to be like, oh man, remember those things? And I'm going to be like, hey, I have 2 in my attic. Yes, home server 2011. It was definitely bleh. That's for sure. Server Essentials was garbage. Yes. The worst part was trying to actually like reinstall the OS with no video header on the server, because the Sentinels didn't have a video port. Some of the HP home serves had a VGA port and 2 USB ports. You could plug a keyboard and mouse into it, but the Sentinels didn't. They just had an app you ran on a Windows machine, and you just kind of hoped that it worked, that it was able to go out and factory reset this device.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's funny. It's it's like using an app to find a printer on your network. You were like, I hope it's out there.
Yeah.
Good times. Yeah. So I've done a couple of things. Being truthful to my name of my channel, I started to fix my LC 475 last night, and I broke it. So
what happened?
I ham-fisted a capacitor and tore the pads out.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah. So I've got everything recapped except for the that one set. Myself
it was like
Steve,
C20 or something.
C127.
What?
We thought it was C12, but it wasn't. It's C127. It's right there.
No.
Why won't you focus?
All right.
Anyway, I cleaned it up. Steve from Mac 84 took a look at this picture. He said, "Good news. The trace for the ground is still there, so we'll
Good.
be able to bodge that." And then he said he was going to figure out where it goes. Like you had said, we could take an LC and figure out where it
Yeah.
goes,
Mhm.
and then just run a bodge wire. So hopefully that'll fix my 475, which I'm really excited to use. I really like this computer actually.
Oh yeah, they're great. They're
yeah.
great.
I feel like-
They're especially great if you can swap in a full 68040 that has the FPU and all that stuff.
Okay, so I should look for one of those.
Sure, if you're into that.
Yeah, because I saw that there was an FPU upgrade card, but
not for 040s. That's not a
Yeah.
thing. So
Oh,
for
I-
030s, sure,
oh, okay,
but not for 040s. That's
Okay.
It's on die. Yeah.
gotcha. And then I found a network card for it that I had,
Great.
Awesome.
so I can get this on Global Talk pretty quick. It just uses an AAUI, so I'll just have to get an AAUI adapter. Which I have
wait.
boxed.
You have the PDS card that has the AUUI on the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really rare. Hang on
Are
to
they?
that. Yeah. Because Apple they were like, haha, and everybody was like, we're not buying that. Hell's wrong with you? Just put an RJ45 on it. And they were like, okay.
And so they made one with just an RJ45.
Yeah.
Of
There was
course.
no need to like double dip. It was like the most Apple thing of all time.
Classic. The OE card. That's what. I'm sorry, Joe said the OE card. How many 475s did you have to restore, Ryan? I have one 475, three LC2s, one LC1, and an LC3. And a partridge in a pear tree. Oh,
I will tell you
AAUI.
what, LC, yeah. Or I'm sorry, your LC and your LC2, just pull the caps off, clean
Yeah.
the boards, and just put them away because you'll never use them.
My
they're
thought
not
was
great.
Yeah. My thought, I have the 12-inch color monitor. I have a bunch, like I literally have 7 or 8 12-inch colored monitors.
Oh, nice.
I was thinking for upcoming television shows, they're set in the 90s,
Mhm.
and the school that the set at
Yeah.
had a Mac lab in the 90s.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking that's where I'm going to probably end up using them.
Well, just remember, it's all those caps are just like filter caps on stuff. You may get really quiet audio, but otherwise,
Just pull them off.
yeah, just pull them off.
Okay. I'll just keep.
Do
them off.
whatever you want to do, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, don't.
And you had mentioned using polymer caps, so maybe that's what I'll do. I'll order some polymer caps and make it look period correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect elementary school computers with kid
what all the
pics.
cool kids are doing.
Yeah. I thought we were still doing tantalum, so I'm sorry. You kids today with your fleek and your dabs and your I don't know what
I mean,
else.
you can still do that. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, so that was sort of the project.
This is
This weekend, I'm going to be recapping a bunch of the power supplies from the LCs because they all need to be recapped. This one I did the power supply in the 475 already.
Nice.
It was pretty good. It smelled a little bit of like a fish market when I got a couple of the caps off, but most of them, I couldn't get over how easy it was to get the solder and the caps off the board in these.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, I thought I'd have to struggle with it, but it was like heated up.
Yeah, that's what really helps. That it's just like a 2-layer board.
Yeah.
That it's got big ground planes on the top, but they're mostly flowy, so you can just like no trouble, just clean it and go.
The only thing I had an issue with was some of the caps I bought. I was looking at them going, well, the one I took off was massive. The one I have is like a lot smaller, but they all seem to fit, and they didn't cause any issue. And Steve gave me a little tip. He said there's one cap that if you solder it in properly or you leave the leg on it any bit long, it touches the side of the case and can cause a grounding issue. So or I guess voltage to ground. Pulling a heavy air, as they say. So hopefully we'll put these together tomorrow, and we'll have some bootable LCs. That's the plan.
Awesome.
And then, of course, I've been playing around with my 7100, which has been doing great. It's been up on Global Talk now for a couple of days. Seems to be fine.
Mhm.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
No issues. So
Cool.
Cool. So, Frank, what have you done? Have you done any?
I started working on my video for the those discs that I picked up, but I haven't had time to finish up the recording and editing.
Mhm.
So I'm working on that. So I should have that finished hopefully this coming week. It's just been extremely busy.
Understood.
Other than that, I don't have anything else for Martian Tosh that I'm aware of.
I don't know if people know this, but Frank is one of the busiest people you know.
Yep. And even if you don't know Frank, he's still very busy.
Yeah, he continues to be busy, whether you
You know
acknowledge
him or
it or not.
It's busy.
Actually, you know what you can show, Frank, is that really cool little adapter that you got that you're sending me one of.
Oh yeah, yeah. They just came in the
Because
mail today.
that's global talk-ish.
Yeah. So
yeah. Mhm.
the
Cash Talk.
Cash Talk 2 Raspberry Pi hat kit.
Mhm.
Boogaloo.
So I picked up 4 of them, even though I wasn't exactly sure what they did. So I had to ask Ron to dumb it down for me and explain what it is that it actually does. Because the instructions on the site just pretty much said it's a network device for Apple Talk. And I'm like, okay, great.
Right.
But it doesn't say.
Well, what does that
exactly what it
mean?
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I like all the stuff he makes. They're really cool. Very not explaining on how to configure them or do anything like that. That whole thing with like that Tash 20, like the HD 20 adapter thing for like the 512 and the Plus and all that. Everybody, even people that sell them, I've been like, how do you configure a drive image for it? I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
What do you? Yeah, no one's asked. What do you sell it and tell them to pound sand? Come on.
That's funny. You give us money, we might tell you how to use it.
Yeah. Well, the
won't,
whole
though.
thing with the Tash Talk is that it's basically a hat for the Raspberry Pi that is a local talk bridge.
Right.
So you install like a Linux distribution or Pi compatible OS on it, and then there's some some software that you run basically, and then it bridges the serial part of your network to the local talk part of your network to the ether talk part of your network. So you can
cool.
If you just want to do emulation, like you're going to use QEMU to set up your global talk server, you can set that up. And then if you got, oh wait, I've got a Mac Plus, or I've got a local talk printer or something, yeah, you can use that to bridge it over and print to it and all that.
Nice. Well, it's fun. I'll have to design a little case for it, I suppose, and print it, and
yeah,
another little tool in my hat, or in my bag, I should say, or feather in my hat.
Yeah,
cool. Well, that's very exciting.
They're super cool. And you know what, Frank? It's not a bad investment to have 4 of them, because stuff on that store goes out of stock all the time.
It does,
and
that was
never gets.
That was my
redone.
thing. By the time I looked, I think there was 7 left, and I'm like, okay, I'll take 4. I don't know what the hell they do, but
I got to ask a question, and I mean no disrespect, but is this guy the bizarro version of Joe?
I don't know. I've never met them, so I don't really know.
Judging off of the website and stuff, I envision this guy as like the Matthew Lesko of tech, where he just puts together some good deals of things, and then like there's a million government grants out there. You got to apply for them. That guy.
Okay. Yeah. And maybe or maybe not, you'll get the product, or not.
Did you know that Matthew Lesko died, right?
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
I've seen videos recently that must be reruns.
He was accidentally killed by Batman. He thought he was the Riddler.
He did look like the Riddler for sure. But
now, when you say he looked like the Riddler, do you mean which Riddler are we talking about? Are we talking Jim Carrey? Are we talking the new horror movie?
Yeah,
no, I'm thinking. Oh, I haven't seen that, but I'm just gonna say like the classic Batman Rogue Gallery. Rogue Gallery. Frank Gershwin or whatever.
Yeah,
that version. Or what's his name? It's not Gershwin. Anyway,
they weren't in anti-static bags. They're in Ziploc snack bags, but they were packaged well. And he's got a sticker on the inside of the box that says, thank you. Good luck, Tashtari. So that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Now wait, is there a comma there? Is it thank you, comma good luck? Or is it thank you
and good luck?
Good luck.
No,
Exclamation mark.
it says work on contingency question mark. No, comma, money down. Exclamation point.
You
Probably
can put
ought
it
to
on layaway.
Probably ought to take that bar association logo off there too.
Lionel Hutz.
Yes.
That was what's his name, right?
Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
that's right.
Yeah,
God
Phil
rest
Hartman
him.
was also supposed to be Zap Brannigan and a lot
Yes.
of other things. Did you know
Yeah.
that Phil Hartman was one of the executive producers of Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Really?
Really?
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, he and Paul Rubens were good friends because they were both members of the Groundlings out there in
Hello,
LA. So that's
Cool.
that's where
Oh.
the Pee Wee Herman character came from, is the Groundlings.
That's pretty cool.
Neat.
I just, all I can imagine is it's how the face of like late 90s, early 2000 comedy would have been with Phil Hartman there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I even think like what would he be doing right now?
Yeah.
Right. He was a good he was a great actor.
Yeah. I can't believe it took this long for us to get like Andy Dick out of Hollywood. It
Right.
shouldn't have took this
Oh
long.
my goodness.
Yeah.
No. I also gotta give a shout out because Steve is here. If you're not signed up for Steve's Patreon or Colin from This Done the Compute Patreon, you get access to what I'm going to say is one of the funniest podcasts I've listened to in a very long time. And I don't want to ruin it for everybody. But Colin does one of the best, and I mean the best. What are you going to call it? I don't want to give away the character.
Colin Mockery? From whose
no,
mind
no.
is it anyway?
Colin from this does not compute.
Oh, that guy.
He does the best late night Teletoon. What's not called Teletoon? What's down there? Cartoon Network. Late night Cartoon Network character impersonations.
See, I don't know if I can listen to his podcast. I do watch and enjoy his YouTube videos, but his voice I think would put me to sleep if I was listening.
It doesn't.
To it
I drive and it does not put you to sleep. You will laugh. It is quite funny. Yeah, Trina seconds it.
Now, I do listen to Walter Isaacson in the car quite frequently. I did enjoy his the audiobook he did about Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And I listened to another one recently. I can't remember who it was on though. He's got quite a few out.
Steve says, "I assure you, my voice will keep you awake." Okay, Steve has a new catchphrase, by the way, too, that I've come to realize he says in every episode of the podcast.
Oh, what's that?
You have to watch it.
I didn't even know he had a podcast. So
well, he's part of the podcast. It's him and Colin.
He does. Yeah, him and Colin.
I didn't know. First I've heard.
So you're one of his patrons, right?
Yeah.
That's so what you get for being so busy.
Hell, I don't even know. All I can picture is like, as far as like, I assure you, my voice will keep you awake. Is have you ever seen Jimmy Neutron, the teacher, Miss Fowl, where she was like, "Wah!" Every time she talks randomly. That's what I picture. Like just some loud noise.
Yeah, just
a little conversation.
What's the name from Dumb and Dumber? You want to hear the most annoying noise in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that was all improvised?
Right. The catchphrase. Did I do that? No, it's not. Steve has a new catchphrase, and he'll know.
I'll have to look it up because I didn't know there was a. I will spam them directly. Yes, please send it to me. I will listen if I knew, because I had no idea.
That it's just really, it's really
a thing.
It's really low. I don't want to say it's low production quality. It's not, but it seems very natural. It's just them having a conversation, and that's I think what it's the most fun about it. It's just them shooting the shit, talk, much like we're doing right now, but way better in the quality of their. There's no pauses. The content, our discussions are good.
Well, it's called editing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it is. They had to edit out all Steve's, cursing.
Mm-hmm.
They finally got a soundboard. I noticed in the last episode I listened to, where he can say "eep" every time he wants to curse.
Nice.
Thanks for the kind word, Ryan. Slip you the check.
Yeah, check's in the mail, buddy.
I don't accept checks. And much like we talked earlier before stream, I'm more of the, you don't need to pay me now, but maybe in the future, I will need a favor.
Maybe.
through the magic of editing. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, it's really good. I highly recommend it. And it's one of the perks you get for being a patron of Colin or of Steve. So check that out. Ron, you did a video this week, which I found very entertaining.
Yeah, sure.
In
a fairly limited universe, I agree.
Yeah, it's a very educational video for all 7 people who own that particular model of laser.
I think there's a lot of people that own them that maybe don't know that they own them because they assume they're all the same. So, but Apple
or it's possible they're just in the closet and they haven't looked at them in the last 30 years.
And it's true. There's but Apple released a image writer that is it came out at the very, very tail end of everything. It's internally known as the Image Writer 2L. And basically what it is it's a regular image writer, but it has 24K of buffer. And then it also has a switching power supply instead of the old linear power supply that older models have.
I thought the L stood for lightning. I thought it was lightning powered.
I'm not sure what the L. Maybe it means lighter, because again, it doesn't have like a 5 pound. I mean, it's literally 5-10 pounds lighter than the earlier models. Because it doesn't have like a huge transformer sitting in the back. If you look at the I think I might have that image writer now. I know it has a switching power supply at least. Yeah, you can easily tell if you're looking to buy one of these online. Nobody's just going to say that it's an image writer 2L, but instead, what you do is you look at the printer itself. All of the original image writers, like if it does not say image writer 2 on the top of it, but it looks like an image writer 2 and it's got that fog, like that white Apple IIc, that's the original image writer 2. Avoid that if you want one of these other ones. Then there's the one that came out that's a platinum color, but the power and the data cable plug into the legs, the legs of the printer. That's not the one you want. This one, the data cable and the power plug into the body of the printer. That's how you can just tell by looking at them online. Pick one of those up. Joe Bob says, must buy.
Okay. And so besides the switching power supply, essentially the same printer other than that?
Yeah, basically. I mean, again, it uses all the same everything. But it has 24K of buffer versus very little, if any, buffer on the other ones.
Right.
And the whole thing with the image writers, you can only send, I think it's 8K. I think the base model has 8K of buffer space. But the way it's designed, you can only send 8K at a time to the printer. So it's nice. It uses like some bank switching and some funniness to fill that buffer up. But what's really great is if you have an Apple II machine, or if you're on a Global Talk network, more of that print job can get to the printer faster and be printing, so that it frees your machine up.
Cool.
That's super important on old Macs. It's super important on Apple II machines, because when you're printing, it's all you can do. You can't tab out and do something else. There's not enough overhead to multitask. So
cool. And in your video, you recapped the board, I guess.
I pulled the power supply because I went to do some stuff for Global Talk, and Joe printed one thing to my printer, and then all of a sudden it smelled like low tide, and I was like, oh no. And so I took it apart, and sure enough, like the caps were just like juicing.
Nice. And is that something that happens with the other ones? Because
the other ones, the other power supply has caps in it too. I think it only has like 5 caps. The one with the switching power supply, I think it's 8 caps or something. But if you watch the video, there's a link in the description that will take you out to Google Drive. I've got pictures. I've got a listing of all the caps and their values, the position they go on the board, and then links to Mauser where you can go out and buy.
Now, I'm also correct in assuming that now you're offering a service where people can ship you the printers to your house, and you are going to repair them, right? Like this.
If somebody wanted to send me their power supply,
don't say that.
Reconsider. So It's a real simple. It's a 2-layer board. It's really simple to get things unsoldered. The big problem is this. Mine have been leaking for a long time. There is a lot of corrosion under the basically the solder mask kind of layer. It will continue to corrode and eventually the printer will die. But short term, I'm having fun.
Cool. And how many things have been printed from your printer?
More than a few by a bunch.
Nice. Awesome.
I haven't gotten like a ton. I'm going to do a live stream here in a day or two where
I still can't see your zone.
People
I can see everybody else but you. Happy marching poo.
Yes.
Classic.
But if you do the test page on the printer, I know that's really terrible. It's tough to read, but it will say 24K if you have that version. But what makes it nice is if you have that printer and you get like a one of the local squawk cards that Ian is making now, or if you have
the OG
original cards, it's kind of the best of both worlds, is that you've got local talk and a nice big buffer for your print job.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how are you finding Ian's cards? Good.
I don't have one yet.
Oh, okay.
I watched I watched all the stuff of leading up to building it and watched him test and do all kinds of things. So I'm really excited for other people. I'll get one eventually. I did not want to. I literally have 2 of the OG cards,
right?
And I just bought another one the other day because it came with. I didn't deplete the market on purpose. I bought a envelope feeder for my image writer,
awesome.
And it just happened to come with it. So
cool. And for anybody looking to buy Ian's card, you go to jcm-1.com. I believe they are all sold out, but I believe there is a plan to possibly have another run. Joe can correct me there if that's the case.
No, I heard Ian say the other day that more of the components, because the boards do use some new old stock items, and so as soon as he can get them soldered up and get them to Joe, out the door they go.
Apparently, your printer is offline.
Yeah, I took it offline so it wouldn't be going while we're doing a show.
Steve is very happy too because we're discussing printers.
Yeah, but it'll be back online as soon as the show wraps.
Awesome. That's very exciting.
Also, I did a brand new video today. That people will need to go and watch. It is a modest proposal for people that want to print during Marchintosh using Global Talk.
Okay.
No babies were eaten as part of this proposal.
Oh, awesome.
Jonathan Swift's lawyers, stay as far away as possible.
Apparently, one bit is upset because he tuned into the show specifically here, a dot matrix printer.
Oh, don't worry. We'll be doing some ASMR streams soon.
That's right.
Actually, I'll show this off. This is something that came into my Global Talk folder. It's a thank or a what do you call them? Greetings. That's what we're referring to them as.
Yeah, greetings.
Yeah. So Scott did this little greeting, and it just looks like a meep from Sesame Street, one of those aliens. And when you click on it, it plays this lovely graphic. So
oh, that's awesome.
it was Scott Small over at Scott Small at oldbytes.space on Mastodon. So it's pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet.
It reminds me of that Windows Vista screensaver. Remember the Windows Vista screensaver? Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. But cool. So yeah. I don't have any. Did anybody have any gets this week? What did you get?
I got a ton of stuff. I don't have any of it that I can hold up though.
Oh, so tell us about it.
Oh well, I feel like I've spoken a lot. Oh, let me show you this. I got this beautiful bag.
Ooh, PC Optimum points.
Yeah, all the way from Canada. Or I'm sorry, all the way from Newfoundland.
Oh yes.
And it's pretty great. It
is a great bag.
It stores things just like bags in the United States.
Right.
That's not my bag, baby.
It says right here, penis pumps on my bag, baby.
And it's signed by one Austin Powers. Did you happen to get your the local talk box thing working?
No, I have
Oh.
not. I've been literally. I was gone like a couple nights this week, and I did not have time to do anything with it. So, but now that things have calmed down, I'll have a little bit of time to troubleshoot. I may even work on that here in a few minutes,
Cool.
just to see if I can get it up and running.
Neat.
But I ordered some other stuff to like that Tash talk that that is kind of the same idea, and then I also ordered a like there's an iPrint, like a very specific model of iPrint that Ian had that he says that it works. So what I want to try to do is it seems like I'm going to have to fake a network to get it to the point where I can program the one that you so kindly sent me, Ryan.
Right.
And then it'll work. So
and I have that software. I should probably try to get that to you. The management software. I don't know if that'll help you in any.
Well, it's that's the version. I think that's the version that's online. If it's 3.2.1, if it is, then that's the version that's archived online. I just mostly was like, so Ryan sent me a Dana Ether print, which is basically a router that takes traffic from local talk and moves it over to Ethernet and vice versa, so that way that you can share your old print network over to like a PC. And it's actually it's the version it'll even route traffic from computers, not just print, but also for computers. It's really neat. The problem is it will work fine if that is the only thing, but once you start getting zones on your network, which is something that's an integral part of global talk, it poops the bed.
It's not happy.
No.
I have two. I've got an Asante Micro Asante Print.
Yeah.
And I've got an Asante Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's similar. The Asante Talk is similar because it does the Ethernet bridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. The and then we also digitized the manual, which was fun.
Yeah, that was good.
So that was like super.
That was previously unarchived. Thank you, Ryan.
So that was I explained the serendipitous nature of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were literally talking about this manual, and I was like, it might be home in a box. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I was thinking about it. And I said I was looking for something else in my office, and I turned around, and there's another box there on the shelf behind me. I said, what's in this box? Oh, some After Dark discs. I'm like, that's kind of cool. And then I noticed some manuals. I was like, oh, there's manuals in here. And literally the third manual I pulled out was the manual for this piece of hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So I did the right thing, which everybody hates me doing, is I cut the spine off the thing and I threw it through a scanner.
And I don't know that it really matters.
Yeah.
I mean, people that collect paperwork, like I'm one of those people that collects paperwork, but I would much rather see a piece of paperwork online that everybody has access to instead of one person having a pristine copy that no one else.
And in fairness, mine was covered in like mildew and had gotten wet at some point, so it wasn't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a knock because I have a copy of the Voynich manuscript here in the cupboard?
Correct.
Yeah. You've been wanting me to archive that thing forever.
Steve knew that I had it in the box.
Nice.
Because Steve is the documentation whisperer.
Total Steve move.
Total Steve move.
Toodles.
But no, it was a lot of fun. And it was one of the first things, well, it's not one of the first things I put on archive.org, but it's one of the first paper things I put on archive.org.
Mm-hmm.
I've archived a lot of video games, but not any documentation. So that was kind of fun. And it was kind of cool to put it through their system that does some anti-skew and some color correction, and it was kind of cool. So
yeah. And the best thing about it was, again, previously unarchived, there are other versions of the manual, but the box has some jumper settings.
Oh yeah.
That the only place where you can find out what these jumper settings mean is in that manual.
And by the way, they don't actually do anything.
Yeah, they don't mean anything.
I think that's the best. Like, I just have to imagine they got a better price on a 2-jumper setup, or they.
Yeah, or it was probably for anchoring, because it was like, oh, you put like a 1 in there, and it's like, oh, it's a little flappy.
Apparently, Joe needs some assistance. He's cleaning a Next keyboard. I think Joe just said that so we could all be jealous of his. He has a Next.
Boo.
Boo. Boo. Mac, I love some unlabeled mystery switches. Well, that was the thing. They were labeled. They said 1 and 2. They just don't do anything.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
actually,
the second one doesn't.
Yeah, it's the first one will do. Basically, it'll switch between. There's kind of two versions of Local Talk where you've got like the older version that's more compatible, and then you have a newer version for like later machines that is faster and supports more zones and more devices per zone and all that. So,
Per earlier discussion of Austin Powers.
mhm.
Who does number 2 work for? None, apparently.
So,
No one.
what did you get this week? Anything?
Me?
Yeah.
I actually did. I haven't gotten them yet. I was offered 2 very classy vintage computers this week. One of those terrible Pentium 4 Dell gray monolith garbage tower things. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Mhm.
But I only took that because it also came with an EMPC or EMPAC was a company based out of California. We had a lot of them here in Canada, but most people don't remember them. But they were a system builder based out of California, my dad's business. That's all the PCs they bought, and the PC I grew up with was one of these PCs. So I got a little micro AT case. I think I can bring a picture of it up here. Hold on, just bear with me a second while I recover the photos. All right, and I should be able to just pull those up into image. Dell. Browse. Downloads. Not desktop. Where the hell did I put those pictures? Weird.
While you look for that,
Mhm.
I got a few things this week.
Oh yeah, you show off your stuff.
Other than those talkie things I showed just a little bit ago, I got a different talkie things. So I got some Local Talk cards for the PC.
Nice.
I want to try something out to see and test. So those are cool. Got a good deal on a pair of them. And then I have a few different Amstrad computers from the UK. And I have a Amstrad 464, like a CPC 464. But I found an auction because I've been looking for a good monitor. And this is an Amstrad color monitor that they shipped me from the UK. And it actually arrived in one piece. Nothing's broken, and it works. That has the connectors on it that plug into the CPC 464. So that came. But the auction also came with 2 CPC 464s. Now I have 3.
Oh, nice.
So yeah. Frank, we will talk about those PC cards. Yes, let's talk about those PC cards, Steve. So yes. So I got those. And then another thing I finally got, been looking for one for quite some time, but everybody wants it.
Yes.
The Video Toaster 4000 for my 4000 tower. So I found a nice fellow in Canada that was willing to part with one for way
We're
less
sorry.
than online.
We're sorry, and you're welcome.
Well, that's what he told me. He goes, here, have this peace offering. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. I love this guy. So he sent me the Video Toaster.
Nice.
So it's fully complete.
So where do you put the toaster strudel?
You put the strudel on the other side of the board.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I got that for my 4000 tower, but he also included the cables that go with it and 2 of the video processing cards, the DVS cards, digital video. I don't know what they're called. But 2 of the cards that go with it. What do they call them on here? Digital processing systems, DPS cards.
Neat.
Neat. Very cool.
So yeah. So I'm excited to get these into my 4000.
Nice.
And try.
And then are we going to put it on a separate channel and stream something?
Yeah, we're gonna have to stream something.
That'd be awesome.
Cool. But it came with all the paperwork, including the manual and everything.
Nice.
And months and months and months ago, I had already picked up all the discs, the install discs for the 4000 toaster, because remember I was supposed to get one before.
Right. You had one coming in a shipping
So
pod,
I
correct?
got, I got
Yeah.
a shipping pod that never
From
made it.
that guy. Yeah.
You know, well,
Lord Voldemort.
how could I possibly know that the Titanic would sink twice? You know, these things you just don't know.
Don't know.
So the shipping pod was on the Titanic and it sunk after it hit that iceberg. So it just never arrived.
Again, that was in Canadian waters, so I'm sorry.
Yes. So I already had the software discs for the installers and stuff for it already. So I'm
Cool.
excited about that. And then
Nice.
one more thing, not to pull a Steve Jobs here. One more thing. I got a second one of these Mac Pro 6,1s. It was cheaper for me to get the complete system than it was for me to get the stupid hard drive. So
Cool.
yeah.
And they make a lovely planter pot for putting a plant in.
Yeah, well, it's got that hole in the top. That's what it's for. That
Yeah,
way all
that's
the
for-
water from the pot seeps down into the machine.
And cools off the machine.
Liquid cooled. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, these are the computers that I got. So
I
can
remember
see.
that.
Remember those
I had
Dells?
one like that,
Yeah, those Dells. So my
Yeah,
thought
but-
on that Dell is that I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in the attic in a corner somewhere and completely forget it's there. And then in about 20 years, when these things actually are nostalgic, I'll go, oh yeah, I've got one of those, and then never do anything with it.
Fair enough.
And then this is the cooler of the two things. Whoop. So yeah, it's EMPAC was the name of the company, but it's got a 7-segment chummy in it. It's got 2 floppy disks. The other cool thing is it comes with a Microsoft Home mouse, which I already have one of, but it's always nice to have 2. And I have no idea what the guts are. I'm assuming it's probably a 486, or maybe it's been upgraded to a Pentium 1. But I'm excited to get my hands on it, so I'm picking those up on Tuesday. So very exciting. It's been a very quiet week for Gets, but I'm not sure. Did I get anything else?
You know, it still astonishes me for you living on an island how much stuff comes up.
Well, like I explained to you, we're very hardy people. We never throw anything out.
Yeah, but that's
right?
awesome.
Like even if you never need it, it might still come in handy. Is like is our motto.
Absolutely, but that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, so hopefully, we've got a couple of more visits happening to our 2 sort of little collectors that we have. I mentioned this earlier, but if he's watching, Matt, one of our local guys, he recently had a auction where I thought it was 17, but it was 12 small PVMs he got. A couple of them were black and whites, but a couple of them were color. So he got himself, and he paid absolutely nothing for them, and we are all very jealous of his find because he got 3. He got the mini Trinitron television too with it. It's only it's like a 9-inch Trinitron television. Very, very cool little television with a lot of really nice ports on the back of it. Anyway, that was a cool find. That wasn't mine this week, but I was sort of adjacent to it, I guess. But yeah, they showed up at their local government surplus auction, which currently now has a pile of VCRs. And they look really cool, but they're weird VCRs that are slow motion VCRs or time lapse. They're time lapse VCRs, I guess, for security cameras is what they were originally designed for. But they're all Panasonic, and they were all really expensive when they were new. But obviously and I'm not sure they actually work as regular VCRs. I don't think you can just take them and just put a tape in them and just play it.
I finally picked up a used VCR at a thrift shop, I don't know, 6 months ago or so. It was so incredibly hard for me to find a VCR because all the thrift shops said, oh yeah, they're gone as soon as they get here.
Yeah, people buy them.
Because people are getting back into VCRs.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I lent a VCR to the same guy, Matt. His mom had found some old musty videotapes, and he didn't want to use his good VCR and to try to digitize these musty videotapes. So I was like, well, somebody just gave me this old Sears model that they just gave it to me. And I'm like, I don't know if it works. Anyway, it did work. And that's what he used to digitize those musty tapes. But anyway, they're around. I have a really cool one under my desk here. I'm kicking with my foot. It's in an actual Pelican box. We use it as a prop on the show as a rented. Remember we used to rent VCRs?
Yeah.
That was the whole premise of this episode. The kids go and rent a VCR and they watch a horror movie they're not supposed to watch.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's like a top pop or pop top VCR where it comes out the cassette goes in the top, and then it kind of self closes.
Yeah.
That's why I have that. That's sort of my my favorite sort of type of older VCR.
That's great.
Yeah. Colin, hey Colin.
We were talking about Colin recently.
Yes, I don't think it's the same Colin.
Oh, too many Collins.
Lots of Collins.
We were talking about a Colin recently.
It says we're allowed to have one.
Yeah.
It's no homers club.
Well, and it's confusing though too, because there's Colin Mister who does a lot of stuff, and then there's just hey everybody, it's Colin. How's it going?
Yeah.
That's the other Colin.
Also, I will say Steve does a very good impression of the guy from Aqua Team Hunger Force. The what's his name?
Carl.
Carl. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So if you ever get a chance, you should totally get Steve to do his Carl impression for you.
None of this matters. None of this matters, Fry Man.
Hey, it's Frederick. Hey, Frederick. Apparently, Mac 84 is flexing again, or Steve's flexing. He says he has an RCA top loader from 1978.
Yeah.
How much did that cost back in 1978?
Oh, lots of car money.
Yeah, that'd be $2,700, please. That's a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah.
Correct.
But again, how else were you going to tape? Like, I don't know. That's incredible.
Or, yeah, what else came in 78? I don't know.
Lots of stuff, but it was really, I will tell you, like, how freeing that was for a lot of people, because it would be like, oh, I'll just tape it and watch it another time.
Well, that's like the lady who taped like all television. It was like a treasure trove when they found it. She passed away, but she taped like from the late 70s all the way up until the mid 2000s.
Yeah,
and she
so
just
you couldn't buy VHS tapes anymore.
Yeah, and she just taped everything, and they found her collection. It was massive, and after she had passed, and they're like digitizing it all now, because it's like it's a look into stuff that was never kept, like commercials. Not every commercial is kept by the company that makes them, right? Like,
yeah.
So there are some commercials that were lost that she had copies of, and it's pretty cool.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, it's great, and like the guy at VCF Midwest who was just there, giving him freely of his time to digitize stuff for people, right? Like that's so cool. Yeah. Somebody just dragged all their shit down with them and sat there the whole day. It's like the guys who do repair for free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or do repair for good money.
Lots of people do. Big shout out to DJ and Sark.
Yes.
For all of their many hours of fixing other people's stinky electronics.
Yes.
Thomas,
the tide is low at the repair table.
Right.
Thomas,
what's that?
Amiga Rochester.
Yeah, Amiga Rochester.
Yeah.
But yeah, this kid came down. He had his full digitizing setup. He was doing. Steve can talk more to that, but he was doing not because say Blu-rays, no, laser discs and VHSs and all sorts of different. I don't know if he had any beta, but maybe he did. But it was cool to see that somebody would volunteer their time to do that, and kind of a nice sort of perk of going to these conventions. So.
Yes, it's very nice
indeed. So if you need some videos digitized, head on over to VCF Midwest in September.
Nice people are nice.
Yes, nice people are nice. So speaking of nice people, you great people are fantastic, and I have nothing else to say. So unless there's anything we want to discuss before we close the show down, we've been doing this for an hour and 13 minutes here now.
If you're into that.
Just a little bit of an update on Joe's Flex. His next keyboard is now clean. So
that's all we said.
Yeah. Now, are they a foam and foil keyboard? Do you have to sit through and?
I don't think so.
No, they're real keyboards. Yeah.
Yep.
Cherry switches or something fancy.
I'm pretty sure that they're Alps. It's
Steve. Yeah,
of that era.
Yeah.
Eric.
Hey, Eric. Yeah, actually, we forgot to mention Eric is not here today. He's had something on, and we miss him greatly. And Eric is still working on Adventure, and I know that it's out there for people to test on Global Talk. So if you want to beta test Eric's copy of Adventure, hit him up on Global Talk.
That's right.
So yeah. Anyway,
fantastic.
Anything else we want to talk about, Ron? Frank?
I'm mostly doing okay. I got a ton of crap coming in, and I got a bunch of videos I need to get out, and Just seems like there's just not enough time to make it all happen.
How are your shorts doing?
They're okay.
Yeah.
Holding up.
Actually, I haven't made a whole lot of shorts.
You haven't. That's why I was asking.
In a while, and
yeah.
I'm just taking a break and letting some stuff kind of build back up. So
Cool.
Yeah.
I just I enjoy that you didn't make it a separate channel because that would be stupid.
You know what? I don't. Everybody do your own thing, and that's fine. But anybody that's like, we need a way to block shorts. It's like, no, maybe you just
don't look at them.
Scroll past it, just
Yeah.
ignore it, whatever. But it's like, I don't understand splitting your audience or anything like that. It's whatever.
That sounds familiar.
Here's the thing: if they won't watch your shorts, by God, they didn't like any of the other shit you're doing either. So just don't worry about it. Push forward, make things for yourself, and the right people will get it.
That's right. I enjoy them.
Indeed. I enjoy your license plates that you always do.
Yeah, those are.
There's always they're dad jokes. It's just
those are funny.
Yeah. I did make a really a smart joke recently. I was in, I think, Utah or somewhere, and there was a like a gas station, and their logo is like a clock face and stuff, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists had their own gas stations now. It was because it was like 5 minutes to midnight. Anyway, smart joke.
Swing and a miss.
No. People, the normal amount of people liked it. They were just like,
good.
That's fine.
Awesome. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for another fantastic Friday night. And thanks to everybody in our audience for joining us. We know you have your choice in Friday evening entertainment, and it's great that you spend it with us.
Yes.
Feel free to hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost us you a cent, and it helps YouTube tell us you're interested in what we're talking about. Other than that, have a fantastic night. And any words of wisdom, any pearls of wisdom from anyone?
I don't know.
No.
Be excellent.
Be good people. It's not hard.
Dave just messaged on there. Dave, if you have time to chat afterwards, I have a visual question for you.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Have a fantastic evening, everyone. And take my advice. Pull down your pants and slide on the ice.